What up, Pelicans fans? It's the Pelbros here. The 2019-2020 NBA season for the Pelicans and their fans was pretty rough. We had plenty of ups and downs throughout the season. And today in this video, we're just going to go over some of our thoughts, share our season review and recap, and also reveal our rating for the season. So should we just start off with a drum roll? C+.
Yeah, C+. You know, we don't want to keep it. We don't want to tease you guys. Strip tease around here. We'll just get straight to the point. It's a C+. It wasn't great. It wasn't necessary, but at the same time, it wasn't the worst in the world too. So because of that C+, especially because we didn't make any playoffs, right? We'll get into the. We've got a whole big video here to discuss, right? But very briefly, because we didn't get into the playoffs, it's a C+. If we made it to the playoffs, it could have been B-. If we made a huge playoff run or something like that, a deep playoff run, that could have even been B+, A, etc. But obviously none of that happened. That's just a big dream, and because of that, we are sitting at C+ for this season review. Should we explain to these people, these kind viewers, why it's a C+?
Yeah, so if you like this type of content, definitely hit like, subscribe to our channel. But let's just rewind in time a bit. Let's just go all the way back to, I guess, the off season of 2019, where we brought in, the biggest player I'd say of that season was probably David Griffin. Bringing him in, it could have been Zion, could have been BI, but
it's true, and it is true. Like, don't BS here that David Griffin is not a player, right? Like, I know a player. Like, I'm a player of the game too. Like, David Griffin, he's a player.
Yeah, brought him in to take over Dell Demps, who had definitely lost a lot of, I guess, repertoire and lost a bit of love from not only the fans but the organization. And obviously we had a, I guess, pretty grateful off season with the number 1 pick going to the Pelicans. And obviously, who do we get? Mr. Zion William himself. So on top of that, with the AD trade to the Lakers, the Pelicans receiving BI, Josh Hart, Lonzo, and a few picks in the process. We're looking at a off season, a pretty solid off season. We also signed free agents Derek Favors as well as JJ Redick, and that set up a promising looking season. Ryan, what were your expectations going into the season?
Mate, with that off season, I remember, I still remember even when we got the lottery draft, right? Like the draft lottery, we got number 1, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that's fucking crazy, right? Like, I wasn't even expecting that. So that was freaking hype as shit. And then I guess just in general, man, that entire offseason was just hype. I was thinking, like, everyone's sleeping. If anything, that's why we made the Pelbros, because we're like, jump on this hype train before it becomes too hype, right? So my general thoughts of the offseason was just like, it's hype. We're gonna freaking completely dominate the league. That's how I see it.
Yeah, for sure. This was coming off a terrible 2018-2019 season where we were all pretty depressed as Pelicans fans. I definitely agree. The expectations were there. We definitely believed in ourselves to make a playoff run. And then jumping into the preseason, you had I think hype was the best word to describe the preseason and summer league.
Yeah, preseason was quite hyped too. I think we went 5-0 in the summer league. Obviously, like I've said, like we both said in previous episodes, for the people that are true Pelbros fans, you will understand that what we said before is that we are actually like the kings, the undisputed champions in the league when it comes to games that do not matter. We actually went 5-0, undefeated in the summer league, or I guess preseason games, right? And during that time, unfortunately, Zion got himself injured in that Spurs preseason game. So, but during that period though, it was hype, dude. We were even seeing Jackson Hayes blowing up, right? Nickeil Alexander-Walker, because we just thought, okay, it's Zion, right? But no, all these other rooks were, I guess, showing us how it's done, right? So it was hype, dude. It was hype. Don't get me wrong, 5-0, everything was hype.
Yeah, I was basically just going to shout out the 2 rookies as well. Like you said, Noor, Jackson, that we brought in that draft with Zion. We didn't know much about them. We didn't know what to expect, but they absolutely killed it in the summer league. Showed lots of potential. They had tons of chemistry. Noor was making crazy passes. Jackson was making some crazy athletic dunks. And, that just set up the tone for the rest of the season. And then to start the season, unfortunately, it didn't go as well as we would have hoped. I believe we started the NBA season with the very first game against the Raptors,
Yeah, we had the first game of the entire like league, but yeah, it was against the Raptors at their home. Yeah.
Yeah, and pushing them to OT, we saw a lot of promising things. These were the Raptors that obviously the champions that had lost Kawhi, but even being able to push them to OT definitely showed that we were ready. We were ready to step up to the big boys of the league.
And sorry, I was going to say, talking about that game too, now I remember, Nicola Melli. We forgot about Nicola Melli. He had a game too.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah,
in that first game.
We brought in the that 28, 29-year-old rookie from Italy, Melli, who was looking like our replacement for Mirotic.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously the start of the season not going too well. We started off 1-5, losing to Toronto, Dallas, Houston, and Golden State, and then winning a game against Denver. And we got to admit that's a pretty tough strength of schedule. These are top tier teams, and the season looked shaky. We didn't have Zion, and a lot of us, I guess, were hyping him up for his return. But shortly after that, we followed it up with probably one of the worst, I guess, stretches of play that we've seen from Pelicans fans
in the entire franchise. Right? I think it was a franchise loss record, right? I mean, you know how people are getting like franchise records for like, oh, this guy got the most 3-pointers in the finals for a Miami Heat player, something like that, right? But then here we are, hey, we're like the team that's got like the most fucking losses in all of our franchise history. So, we had a 13 game loss streak, right? Things just were not working for us. And yeah, exactly like you said too, no Zion and shit, but like you said too about the strength of schedule, that's just a huge recurring theme that's kind of been like dooming us this entire season from the beginning to the end. We actually had probably the hardest, if not one of the hardest, strength of schedules throughout the entire season. I more so in the early part, in like the first half, or maybe you could even say the first 2/3 of the season, we had the hardest strength of schedule, and then it kind of got easier after on. But yeah, pretty much, I just want to say, yeah, we got pumped in that 13-game loss streak. I remember, I was tuning into the games beforehand, but during that 13-game streak, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I did not fucking tune in. I was like, okay, fuck it, that's there's no point anymore.
Yeah, a loss streak starting from the end of November to almost the end of December. So that was almost a month's worth of losses. Definitely up against some top tier teams, but inexcusable losses to teams like Detroit, Orlando, Brooklyn as part of that stretch. And it wasn't looking too great, I guess
Sorry, I was going to say, there were a few games that we could have won though, but that's the thing, we just couldn't close it out. And that's also not a recurring theme of this entire season, but continue on.
Yeah, a lot of near losses or close losses, only dropping a few points. And that gave us a bit of hope. I mean, at least this team was willing to compete and they were willing to fight and stay in games.
Yeah.
And that, I guess that leads us up to the All-Star break. So after we brought it back in Zion, who had his debut game where he went off against the Spurs, that gave us a glimmer of hope. And we were expecting that to be a turning point and also to kind of turn around the season and bring us into the All-Star break strong. Props to BI. He earned his All-Star accolades by scoring 24 points a game. He was looking on track for an MIP season.
He did end up getting MIP this season too.
Yeah, exactly. And we started to close out the year strong. The end of year we had a good stretch from Lonzo, who went on I think four game streak with 20 points or more. And we started the year looking pretty strong with some great wins over teams like Houston, Denver, Utah as well, where BI had that 49-point game.
Oh yeah, shit.
But then, with the post All-Star break, we had about a month's worth of games.
Sorry, before we get into the post All-Star break, I just wanted to quickly, talk about just before that, right? I think something that we missed out here, right, was basically, I just want to say, after that 13-game loss streak, right, then basically Derek Favors came back in the mix, and I feel as if finally, after all this fucking around, we finally kind of got things working, right? We started to get chemistry going on, and then finally got the chemistry going on, and then we got Zion in, and then there was it was a bit rocky at first, right? The Zion and BI at the same time, who's going to make the play, etc., right? But then after maybe 5 games or so, then Zion ended up, I guess, flowing with the rest of the team too. And then with that, it was like, shit, this is a crazy team now. We've actually got a team now. But yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, no, completely agreed. We started to work out a lot of chemistry issues, and there was definitely a good stretch in January and February where Zion was tearing it up. I'll just quickly throw off his stats in a four-game window here, where he scored 31, 32, 25, 28, and we won 3 of those 4 games. So yeah, definitely looked super promising. We're working out some chinks in the armor, and definitely getting chemistry on. And then unfortunately, with as soon as we started to look pretty good, we had just beaten Miami, just beaten Minnesota. Rudy Gobert goes and ends the league by getting coronavirus. And this I guess kicks off the last part of the last chapter of this season recap, which is actually us entering the bubble.
I don't want to talk about the bubble. I'll let you talk about the bubble.
I was just about to throw it over to you, actually. But
hey, can we get a third Pelbros here? Like, someone else talk about the fucking bubble. All right, let's just not talk about the bubble. Let's just say the bubble was fucking disgusting. We were given like the keys, like, hey guys, like here's the key to my freaking expensive Lamborghini car or something like that. Like, please, it's like, here's this car straight to the freaking playoffs, right? Like, we had the easiest strength of schedule because we've had to deal with this hardest strength of schedule before that. So in the bubble, we had the easiest fucking, like, I guess, path to get into the playoffs. And what do? We fucking fucked it up. What can I say, right?
Yeah, we had Adam Silver putting the playoffs on a silver plate for us, even though I believe we were 11th or 10th at the time. And we were hyping it up. Let's rewind back to pre-bubble, where we had a few episodes, a few Easter eggs if you can find it in our podcast.
We're looking like some fools now.
Giving us a potential, 7-1, 6-2, maybe even 8-0. Maybe even 8-0.
Oh, man.
And unfortunately, that didn't pan out. I'll quickly just go through the record during the bubble. I lost to Utah. I lost to LA. Beat Memphis. I lost to Sacramento. Easy win. Bit of a struggle win against Washington. And then a 3-game losing streak. San Antonio, Sacramento, Orlando to cap off a 2-6 bubble record.
Oh my god. And you know what's so funny about that too is that I remember just before the bubble, I was posting around on Instagram, being like, on different comments, being like, nah man, it's gonna be 7-1, it's gonna be 8-0. And then after that, I think you've seen the notifications too, right? There's some guy commenting, be like, hey, you're gonna like say sorry to this guy for like talking shit. And I just said, I actually just wrote 8 equals D. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a penis. I was just like, fuck off, suck my dick. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely shows the mood at the time.
Yeah. At the time, still right now, I'm salty about that shit forever, bro. I got beef now. Like, yo, end the video, bro, because I'm pissed.
But yeah.
C+, bro. It's gonna go down real quick right now, bro. I'll tell you right now, the rating.
Yeah, the 2-6 bubble experience completely shattering our playoff chances. We didn't even end up in the 9th slot to play against the 8th seed. We weren't even close. And
we ended up being worse than, like, I think Minnesota, didn't we? Or what?
No, we got worse than Suns, because the Suns went crazy.
Oh yeah. Suns just went crazy and shit. So basically, yeah, I guess that little break we had off, it was just all fucked from there. And I think that first game we lost versus Utah, after that, because that was a hard beat, right? That was a tough loss. So after that, it was just, I think all the momentum was just sucked out of us. And then next thing you know, Gentry fired. So yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of sums up our season.
Oh, if anything, the Gentry fired does make it a C+. Okay. That is a good call. And yeah, we can end it on that note. C+, yeah.
Yeah, definitely the repercussions of that terrible season coming in and biting Gentry on the ass with his firing. But yeah, that wraps up the season review. Not the season we'd hoped for, but we got some big things coming up the next season. A few decisions to make, coach wise, free agent wise, and definitely look to compete for a playoff seed next season.
Yeah, we got plenty of more shit to come, like more shit to come in terms of content, talking about the season coming up next season and stuff. So please hit us up on YouTube, on Instagram at Pelbros, or even just hit up on our website pelbros.com. And yeah, we've got plenty of content to keep you guys, I guess to hook you guys up with your daily, or not daily, but at least weekly Pelicans drag addict fix, right? We can keep you guys hooked onto that shit until the Pelicans finally make their return next season. So yeah, I think I'm still, despite this not being the greatest season, there's a lot of, I guess, pluses to look forward to next season. So I'm definitely quite hyped still, but I really hope I don't get let down. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, Pelbros will keep you in touch with all the news. Give us a like, subscribe. We out.
Yeah, ladies.